Now that we're only one episode away from House of the Dragon season finale, I want to make a video about Sir Otto, the former hand of Aegon Targaryen. Unfortunately, Sir Otto Hightower will not be alive for much longer. He will be one of the first men who die after Rhaenyra sits on the Iron Throne. In one of his last scenes, Sir Otto was fired by Aegon, who wasn't satisfied with his actions or lack thereof during the beginning stages of the Dance of the Dragons. Aegon essentially felt that Sir Criston had the right amount of aggression to help him win the war. He did not like the thought of sitting around and waiting for ravens after Daemon successfully sent assassins into his own home to murder his son. Well, now that Aegon is injured, Aemond is looking for a new hand. In the most recent episode, he had Sir Larys send word for his grandfather, Sir Otto Hightower. Aemond wants Sir Otto reinstated as hand because he has faith in his devotion for his family. He knows he doesn't have to worry about his grandfather's allegiance. Sir Otto will be arriving back in the city very soon. Now, there's not that much information about Sir Otto in Fire and Blood during the events that follow. We know he was orchestrating the breaking of the Valyrian blockade in the Gauntlet. In Fire and Blood, Sir Otto had sent word across the Narrow Sea to another one of Daemon's enemies, the Kingdom of the Three Daughters. Now, by itself, the royal fleet was not enough to break the Sea Snake's blockade on the Gauntlet, and Aegon wasn't able to win over the Iron Islands. However, the ships of the Tyrosh, Lys and Myr would be more than a match for the Valyrians. Sir Otto sent word to the Magisters stating that he would give them exclusive trading rights in King's Landing if they would dismantle the Sea Snake's ships in the Gauntlet and open the sea lanes once again. He also said he would give them the Stepstones, although the Iron Throne had never claimed those islands. Eventually, Sir Otto would go to Tyrosh himself, where he would have a sit-down with the High Council of the Triarchy. They finally accepted his offer of alliance. They ended up sending 90 ships from the Stepstones under the banners of the Three Daughters. And it wouldn't be long before they had their first battle. In fact, these ships would find Daemon and Rhaenyra's sons, who were sailing on the Gay Abandon. This was actually referenced in the last episode by Lady Jane Eyre. They were hoping Daemon and Rhaenyra's sons would be safe across the Narrow Sea out of harm's way. Unfortunately, they were actually sending them right at the enemy's fleet. If you want to know what happened during the Battle of the Gauntlet, make sure you watch my video about the fate of Jacaerys Velaryon. That video highlights everything that happened during one of the bloodiest sea battles in Westerosi history. In this video, I just want to focus on what happens to Sir Otto Hightower. Now, in order for us to see how he died, we're going to have to see the fall of King's Landing. This will happen after Aemond decides he will have to bring the fight to Daemon at Harrenhal. Now that the Lannister army is marching across Westeros, Aemond hoped they would be able to crush all their enemies around the Trident. He thought this would force Daemon out of hiding, where he would then have Vhagar devour Caraxes, and Daemon would arrive back in the city holding Daemon's head in hand. Alicent wanted him to wait for Aegon and Sunfire to be able to join the battle. Aemond had no interest in such delays, however. He wanted to fight Daemon immediately. He rode forth from the Gate of the Gods within a fortnight, at the head of a host of 4,000 men. 16 days to march to Harrenhal, Aemond said. On the 17th day, we will feast inside Black Heron's Hall, while Daemon's head looks down on us. Now, Daemon Targaryen was too old and a seasoned battler to sit idly by and allow himself to be stuck inside Harrenhal while Aemond's army surrounded him. You see, Daemon still had friends in the city, therefore he knew his nephew was heading his way before Aemond had even set out. After Daemon was told that Aemond and Sir Criston had left King's Landing, it's said that he laughed and said, "It's about damn time," for he had always known this would happen. A murder of ravens were then seen leaving Harrenhal shortly thereafter. Daemon himself flew south on the wings of his dragon Caraxes. Flying above the western shore of the God's Eye, well away from Sir Criston's line of march, he evaded the enemy host, crossed the Blackwater, then went east, following the river downstream to King's Landing. And on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra Targaryen donned a suit of gleaming black scale, mounted Syrax, and took flight as a rainstorm lashed the waters of Blackwater Bay. High above the city, Rhaenyra and Daemon came together, circling above Aegon's high hill. The sight of them incited fear in the streets of the city below, for the small folk were not slow to realize that the attack they had dreaded was at last at hand. Aemond and Sir Criston had left the city bare of defenders when they set forth to retake Harrenhal, and Daemon had Vhagar with him, leaving only Dreamfire and a handful of half-grown hatchlings to defend the city. Now, those young dragons had never been ridden, and Dreamfire's rider, Helaena, was a broken woman. The city had as well been dragonless. That's when thousands of small folks started running out of the city gates while holding their children and whatever else they owned on their backs to seek safety in the countryside. There were some small folk who began digging underground, where they hoped to hide while the city burned. Riots broke out in Flea Bottom. When the sails of the Sea Snake's ships were seen to the east in Blackwater Bay making for the river, the bells of every sept in the city began to ring, and mobs surged through the streets, looting as they went. Dozens of men had died before the city watch could restore order. Since Aemond and Sir Criston were absent, and Aegon himself was burned and lost in his dreams, it fell to his mother Alicent to see the city's defenses. The city fell in less than a day. One by one, the dragons made their descent. Sheepstealer lighted atop Visenius Hill, Silverwing and Vermithor on the Hill of Rhaenys outside the Dragon Pit. Daemon circled the towers of the Red Keep before bringing Caraxes down in the outer yard. Only when he was certain that the defenders would offer him no harm did he signal for his wife to descend on Syrax. Adam Valerion remained aloft. Flying sea smoke around the city walls, the beat of his dragon's wide leathern wings was a caution to those below that any defiance would be met with fire. After seeing that resistance was hopeless, Alicent walked out from Maegor's Holdfast with her father, Sir Otto Hightower. Alicent wanted to summon a great council, as Jaehaerys did in the days of old, and lay the matter of succession before the lords of the realm. Rhaenyra, however, did not like this idea because she knew what they would say. Instead, Rhaenyra told Alicent to either bend the knee or burn. Bowing her head in defeat, Alicent surrendered the keys of the castle and ordered her knights and men-at-arms to lay down their swords. "The city is yours," Alicent said, "but you will not hold it for long. My son Aemon will return with fire and blood." Once inside, Rhaenyra had discovered Aegon had fled with his son and daughter. Not even Alicent seemed to know where he had gone. There was no way for them to run away with the Iron Throne, however. Nor would Rhaenyra sleep until she sat in her father's seat. She ascended the iron steps and seated herself where Viserys had sat before her, and Jaehaerys before him, and Maegor and Aenys and Aegon the Dragon in the days of old. Stern-faced and still in her armor, she sat on high as every man and woman in the Red Keep was brought forth and made to kneel before her, and ask for forgiveness and swear their lives and swords and honor to her as their queen. Septinus Stace as the ceremony went on all through the night. It was well after dawn when Rhaenyra Targaryen rose and made her descent. And as her lord husband Daemon escorted her from the hall, small cuts were seen on her grace's legs and left hand. There were drops of blood that fell to the floor as she walked by, and wise men looked at one another, though none dared speak the truth aloud. The Iron Throne had rejected her, and her days upon it would be few. It said that Alicent was fettered at wrist and ankle with golden chains, though her stepdaughter spared her life, for the sake of our father who loved you once. Her own father was less fortunate. Sir Otto Hightower, who had served 3 kings as hand, was the first traitor beheaded. Sir Otto will not be around for much longer, which is unfortunate because he's one of my favorite actors in the show. I'm not exactly sure if we will see him die this season because they have been showing some of the events out of order. I know we will not see the Battle of the Gauntlet until next season, so as long as they follow Fire and Blood, he should survive the finale. I'm hoping they save the fall of King's Landing until next season as well. Although I do want the second season to have a great ending, I don't want to see them speedrun through all of the major events. Now, I know some fans will say the information in Fire and Blood is unreliable anyway. If you ask me, I only think it's unreliable when we're given 3 different versions of what happened. I think Sir Otto will die exactly how it was written in Fire and Blood. Do any of you think they will do something different? Let me know down below. Also, let me know how you think they will end this season. What will they have as their final scene, assuming they are following the events in the right order? As always, I want to thank all of you for watching another video. I will be making a lot of new videos every week. Make sure you subscribe, that way you're the first to know whenever I release a new one. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you again very soon. Bye.